Oh, hey, what's up? Well, apparently
we're live.
Hey, I'm
just hanging out.
Getting in my pocket here. Excuse me.
Why didn't anyone tell me? I've got an earpiece.
Dude, I was jamming out to 10v10 or whatever.
Who put that song on?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a big debate. I think you did it.
I did not do it.
So who put the song on?
That was like the shittiest song in the world.
Even cares or they're going to.
So apologies to everyone who had to listen to
10 on 10
to the intro before we started.
Apology accepted.
So hey, yeah, the patch. We're here to talk about video games and whatnot.
Stuff.
It's Gus, Ray, Burnie.
All right, I got to pull up. This is breaking news. This just handed to me. So Xbox has announced, Microsoft has announced, they're changing the DRM rules that they proposed for the Xbox One. And do you want to just read this off the paper here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, this is from Kotaku.
This just came out.
Yeah, like 15 minutes ago.
If that. 38 minutes ago, according to Kotaku.
All right, well, now I look foolish.
Yeah, so get your news from Kotaku.com in the future. This is by Jason Shearer. This could be the biggest backtrack in gaming history. Oh, Jesus, start off with that. Here's what Microsoft said. Last week at E3, the excitement, creativity, and future of our industry was on display for a global audience. For us, the future comes in the form of Xbox One, a system designed to be the best place to play games this year and for many years to come. This is long, and I started reading the whole goddamn thing.
Let's cut to the meat.
So today, I am announcing the following changes to Xbox One and how you can play, share, lend, and resell your games exactly as you do today on Xbox 360.
Who's making this announcement?
Microsoft President Don Matrick.
Oh, okay.
Don Matrick.
It's official.
Don Matrick was actually part of a panel last week that we were going to go to but didn't, with Don Matrick and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, basically talking about the death of the studio system. That was interesting. We can talk about it later. It's not really gaming related. But he says, I'm going to tell you all about the stuff. Starting off, it says, an internet connection will not be required to play offline Xbox One games. After a one-time setup with a new Xbox One, you can play any disc-based games without ever connecting online again.
So you need to connect to the internet once.
And if you want to play arcade games.
There is no 24-hour connection requirement, and you can take your Xbox One anywhere you want and play your games just like on Xbox 360.
Cool.
Okay.
Trade in, lend, resell, gift, and rent disc-based games just like you do today. There will be no limitations to using and sharing games. It will work just as it does today on the Xbox 360. In addition to buying a disc from a retailer, you can also download games. I love this. This is relevant to me. You can also download games from Xbox Live on day of release. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Great.
If you choose to download your games, you'll be able to play them offline just like you do today. Xbox One games will be playable on any Xbox One console. There will be no regional restrictions. These changes will impact some of the scenarios we have previously announced for Xbox One. The sharing of games will work as it does today. You will simply share the disc. Downloaded titles cannot be shared or resold. Pretty typical.
Yeah.
Also, similar to today, playing disc-based games will require that the disc be in the tray. Okay.
Right.
We appreciate your passion, support, and willingness to challenge the assumptions of digital licensing and connectivity. While we believe that the majority of people will play games online and access the cloud for both games and entertainment, we will give consumers a choice of both physical and digital content. We have listened and we have heard loud and clear from your feedback that you want the best of both worlds. Signed, Don Matrick. Reddit user dmatrick35.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you again for your candid feedback. Our team remains committed to listening, taking feedback, and delivering a great product to you later this year. So, Microsoft has said that they are not going to have a 24-hour check-in requirement, that you will have to be connected to the internet the first time you run the game, but after that,
well, it seems like the first time you set up the Xbox is what it sounded like, not the first time you run the game.
Yeah, first time you set it up, I'm guessing.
I think it's the first time you run the game, because if they've already put a system in place where you can install a game to the hard drive, and it requires it to do that. Didn't say they're changing the hard drive installation requirement, that you must be connected to the internet to verify the license, then after that you're good to go. In other words, it deactivates all the previous licenses and activates yours. Probably.
Can you reread that sentence? Do you mind? Where
that
they
part?
say that?
Yeah, hold on one second. 24-hour. There is no 24-hour connection requirement, and you can take your Xbox anywhere you want to play your games, just like on Xbox 360. An internet connection will not be required to play offline Xbox One games. After a one-time setup with a new Xbox One, you can play any disc-based game without ever connecting online again.
So I think you're right.
That can be read a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Now, upon re-listening to it and hearing your interpretation, I think you're right.
And a new Xbox could be your friend's Xbox One.
Right. It's a new Xbox for that activation.
Because if they had a system in place where you could install the discs to the hard drive and then start without a disc, then that could be a problem where people just like you buy it and we all install it on our Xbox and we all have a copy
Yeah, that'd
of
be bad.
That was Shock 4.
That's what people thought was going to happen the first time when you can install games. Like, oh yeah, I'll just rent it, install it, and return it, and then I have the game.
Right.
But, yeah, obviously that's not going to work.
No, because you'd have to have an internet connection, then somebody else would connect when they rent it from Redbox.
Yeah, and they'll kick you off.
Yeah, it does make it harder to rent though, doesn't it?
No?
No, I guess not, because you still have the disc.
Yeah,
you still have the disc.
That's if you give it back,
license.
like
Yeah.
not a smart person.
Yeah, what am I thinking? There was a do you remember the name of the place? There was a PC rental software company in Austin.
Yeah, I know that place.
What was it called?
Floppy Joe's.
Floppy Joe's. And it was
Clever.
just like, you would rent PC games, and I mean, in college.
Did that work well?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. That was back when PC games had instruction manuals or these code wheels.
Yeah.
That every time you loaded up the game, you had to have the code.
Yeah.
And, they just
Seems like a disaster.
included that in the box.
With the Xbox 360, when you started up, did you have to put in, like, did you need an internet connection? Like, when you boot it up for the first time,
No.
doing the setup, it wasn't okay.
I don't think so. Somebody was telling me recently that they found one of their launch consoles, and it still had the blades on it.
Yeah.
And they could still play games and all that
miss
stuff.
the blades.
Someone, no, you don't. See, I get annoyed when people say they missed the blades. Because someone I saw was writing an article about how terrible they thought the Xbox dashboard was. And they said, one of the things they said was, I miss how fast and efficient the blades were. I was like, you're looking at blades with rose-colored glass, because those blades were slow as shit.
They were pretty slow. They did look cool, though.
Well,
I will
it
say
was
that.
so
I like
slow
how
when,
it looked.
when you hit the Xbox guide button.
Yeah.
That's when it was slow. The whole game would stop, and you'd wait for that side blade to
Yeah.
load in.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
would like, come a little bit.
I retract
and
my
then go all the
statement.
way.
I don't miss the blades at all. I like what we have
But
now.
they look cool. Some about the orange, when you first started up, that orange was
You
the
can
main
customize
blade.
it, too, the colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they dropped that color scheme. Like the orange was heavy in Xbox Live with the old Xbox,
Yeah.
and the transition to the 360.
Yep.
Like even our neon sign, which you can't see right now,
It's,
has a
orange.
lot of orange in it, and they slowly transitioned away from that to the all green color scheme.
As people kind of like jumped on the bandwagon of announcements for the consoles, I was trying to make sure that people stayed a little bit cognizant of what has happened in previous generations. Like, if you look at the 360 announcement, the original one, and the focus of the original 360, a lot of that stuff that's just that users don't care about just goes away.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's key issues with like privacy and internet connections and DRM and all that. But like, remember the 360? Changeable faceplates was a huge deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I had some faceplates.
yeah, so were the background themes for the blades, which
Yep.
then weren't even usable when we went to the new ones.
I forgot about
Yeah.
those.
And remember, the funny thing to me is like a big feature of the online service was rating players after you played with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, submitting player reviews.
And did that ever do anything?
Nope.
Ever? No. Yeah.
Not that
The
I know
only
of.
time I do it is when someone really pisses me off.
Yeah,
Fuck this
exactly.
guy. I only give negative feedback. I think once I gave positive feedback.
Did you?
I was like, oh, that guy's pretty good. Like I had a good time playing with him.
I always assumed everybody just went to 5 stars and then just stayed
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Like, if you weren't at 5 stars, it was bizarre, especially if you had like a year or two played. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. And are the stars even listed now on your Xbox Live profile?
Are
they
no,
gone?
no, I think it's
Tenure.
gamer tag, gamer score, tenure, and then like your recreational pro or your gamers.
Yeah. Also, what's that? Your gamer zone. I mean,
Nah,
did that even do anything either?
No.
Yeah, they might have nerfed that when they put out avatars, because avatars were a big release.
Yeah.
Like midway through the 360's life cycle.
Remember the first, I guess, Avatar, and they had like huge ass heads? It was really weird. It wasn't proportionate at all.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Like some
There,
kind
there
of
was an image somewhere I saw months
Prototype
ago
avatar?
where it's like, I guess, old avatars and new avatars. You could see like it's all more proportionate.
Well, the one thing that they didn't announce is anything to do that kind of retraction or change was a. I have to move my laptop, Gus, because it's in your shot apparently. So we're gonna do that. They didn't say anything about the Kinect at all in this. So I don't know if
Right.
that means they're still looking at Kinect.
I think they've already said that you can disable it.
Yeah, like it needs to be plugged in and on, but you could turn all like everything off
Okay.
of it. If
All
that
right.
makes any
Like
sense.
it has to be plugged in, but
Yeah.
essentially
You can be off.
non-responsive.
Yeah, yeah.
But
All right.
I mean,
I don't know.
Like forced adoption, right?
yeah,
of
it's
that?
still it's just like having a camera and a microphone in your living room that you're like, okay, you better be muted and turned off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust you.
Right. No, exactly. And there's a lot going on right now in the non-gaming global news of what the NSA is doing with spying on people, all over the country through their cell phones. That's not a new thing. I don't know why people are all of a sudden like aware that you can do that.
Well, it became official.
Yeah.
Well,
Like before, you'd have to have a warrant. This is like warrantless search.
Yeah, do whatever the hell you want.
We're gonna get off topic here. I guess this is
But
tech-related news.
this ties into all of this. I mean, it's bad timing for
It's bad timing.
Awful timing.
for all
Yeah.
of this Xbox One stuff and the Kinect because now it's really in the forefront of people's minds.
Isn't it funny though? It is terrible timing that comes up just as they're doing it, and it's also terrible timing that like PS4, PS3, they get this huge like swell of popular opinion, public support, and then what happens? They have a huge release that comes out where they have day one autosave problems due to cloud saving, which, as far as I know, doesn't even really happen on the PlayStation, does it? I'm trying to save to the cloud and I can't. Like I have multiple PlayStations.
Yeah.
And this autosave problem on The Last of Us, people were getting like 9 hours of their progress wiped because it was autosaving.
It would just keep autosaving over and over again.
Yeah.
And you like couldn't progress. Like nothing you could do. It's just
Could you manually save?
I don't think so. No.
You can manually save in that game. Like I don't know if that was affected too.
Yeah, but people didn't know that because when you go to the menu in Last of Us, it says you last autosaved less than a minute ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so I guess people would see that and.
No, I was still saving like crazy the whole time. I don't trust autosave. Does
it have multiple save slots or is it just
it's
one?
got 10.
Oh, okay.
So you can go 10 and then override. So I save all the time.
Let me ask you: Is
You're
that
one of those people.
Is that a
Yeah.
function of our age that we don't trust
I only save once.
Okay.
Yeah, unless it's like a new playthrough or something. Yeah.
You're insane.
Yeah, on Fallout, forget Fallout 3, every
Yeah.
fucking door.
Well, I could
save,
see something like
save.
that. Yeah.
Would you have 180 save files by the time you're done?
I think it was more than that.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Like
and
I have
then-
OCD. I'd be like pissed off and be like, "That's too many saves. I gotta delete this."
And then the problem I realized was when you have that many saves, every time there's a loading screen, it increases the length of time on the loading screen. So it was like on Fallout New Vegas, I was literally waiting like 5 minutes. So I'd be like, do I really want to go through this door? Or like I'd leave a room and be like, oh,
You have to
fuck,
really
I forgot
think
to go
about it.
back.
It's like, do I really need to go back now? I'll come back. But with something like Dead Rising 2, for the off the record, had like 3 save files. And with that game, it's like if you mess up, like, you know, it's over. Like if you miss Survivor, it was a one-time thing. That game, I would be like, nope, just one. I'm pretty confident. So when I inevitably fucked up, I'm like, God damn it, start over.
Go play the whole game
Yep.
again.
I just learned that from video editing on Premiere. Like there was when I first started using Premiere way back, like Premiere 4.2, it would actually crash sometimes when you were saving. And then you
That's
just
a good feature.
Yeah, you just
Great feature.
lost that save. I think literally one time we lost like a week and a half of editing because we were just saving to the same file. So now it's like back from those days, I save as 001, 002. Sometimes on a project for Red vs. Blue, I'll have up to like 130 different saves.
Yeah, and
crazy.
now I've finally gotten to the point in editing software where I trust autosave vaults. I don't increment my projects anymore. I trust that it's auto-saving my shit. There's a bank of 10 backup autosaves
Something like
there.
that I don't trust.
Yeah, we ran
After
it.
everything I do where it's like cut or drag, I like save. So
Somebody's also saying that they wonder at what point will we have to explain to younger people why the save button looks like a blue square with a metal thing at the top. Like they won't understand what the hell that is. Because stuff doesn't have floppy drives. Which brings back to the Xbox. I almost think like the approach that they made almost wasn't a big enough commitment to digital. They kind of went halfway. Like you could get a disc at a retail store, you put it in the tray, you installed it. If they said this is the Xbox One, no discs, doesn't have any discs at all. You know, I remember I was amazed they put a Blu-ray player in the thing because Sony's getting paid for every Xbox One console that's sold.
yeah, but people like having physical copies of things, so I could see why they went both. Like
I get that.
Yeah, like
And
people like collecting and showing off their collection. You can't do that with, digital.
And I will admit, I'm not that guy. Here's the guy I am.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that goes into the Achievement Hunter office going, hey, DLC for Saints Row 3 came out. Guys, I want to borrow a copy of Saints Row 3. And you fuckers open your Saints Row case, and there's Mass Effect in it. And I go, okay, where's the Mass Effect case? And you follow this chain of games.
Which I hate that, by the way. That's the word. I don't. Just put it back. Just put it back.
That's how hard is it, right?
I just have one of those binders that has like you can put a bunch of discs
Oh,
in.
like a CD thing?
Yeah, so as soon as I get an Xbox or whatever, a PlayStation game, I just like open it up, get the disc, throw everything else
back.
away, and just put it in. So I just have one binder.
I used to
with
do that for
all of my
PlayStation 2 games, but now I like having the boxes alphabetized, and because I'm a loser, I guess.
You want to display your games.
Well, I worked at GameStop for a year and a half, and it kind of like ingrained in my head to have everything alphabetized.
No, it's good because you actually find stuff. The games I do have on disc, because Xbox One or Xbox 360 doesn't have any day one digital downloads
Not that I'm aware
now,
of.
but they're gonna have that for Xbox One.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Unprofessional.
that's Matt. Blame Matt.
I'm at.
But do you buy like collector's editions too? Do you get like the
No.
tchotchkes and
The
stuff?
last collector's edition I bought was Saints Row 2.
Saints Row 2. What came in that?
It was like a steel whatever case. It had like a USB stick, some art.
40 ounces of malt liquor.
Yes, and I think like a money clip, and that's it.
And a dude shows up and jumps you into the game.
Yeah.
My favorite thing they ever sent out was for Godfather 2, I believe it was. they sent out press kits of the game
Yeah.
with brass knuckles, which were illegal in like 9 of the states
That's pretty funny.
that they sent them to. So that'd be a great collector's item to have is EA's illegal shipping of arms across state lines.
A lot of that stuff, though, is just like, oh, yeah, it's an art book. It's like, I don't need that. I just want the game.
I like some of the digital stuff. Like, normally I'll buy collector's edition of Blizzard games if you get like a in-game pad or like...
No, if it's something in-game,
like
then I completely understand.
And that's how I am. I'm the exact opposite of you. I love 100% digital stuff.
Yeah.
I like to have, like, you always talk about getting a changer because you didn't want to get up from the couch. To me, that's like, if I can just put every game I ever play on my console, that's perfect to me.
No, that's great.
I've been doing that now recently with the 3DS, and obviously I'll do it with the Xbox One. There'll be times where it's like, you know, Black Ops 2 is in my disc tray, and I don't want to get up and play something else, so it's like, I guess I'll just play Black Ops because it's there.
Exactly right. And you get, now you can just like flop to it. One of the things I liked about the one is even if you had to install a disc, you didn't need the disc to run it. Now it sounds like they're going with a compromise where the disc will serve as the check to make sure that you own the game, that's what's
like
always done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now you can install games to the 360, but you still have to have the disc in the drive. You hear that thing spin up, and then it's like it stops because it's all from the hard drive at that point. You're playing Animal Crossing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you digital download that or buy the cartridge? Okay, you're playing Last of Us.
Yeah.
Did you digitally download or buy the game?
I got it sent to me.
You got it sent to you before.
Yeah, I have a physical copy. I would have downloaded it otherwise.
Mr. Fancy.
So yeah, I didn't have to deal with those autosave problems because no one was playing when I was playing. No congestion.
Can somebody grab JJ? Can you grab those controllers for me? One of the things I thought would be kind of interesting today would be watch your cord there, bud. I thought it'd be interesting today to since DRM is such an issue, I wanted to go over what the DRM looks like on the current gen of consoles to show you what people are thinking about.
If you want to pull those up, let me know. I got control here.
Why don't we here? The PlayStation one is the easiest to understand. So let me back out of this thing real quick. Brandon's got like the old school DualShock.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is. Why don't you pull the PlayStation real quick? So here is the PlayStation Store. I seem to be having trouble navigating here.
Is your controller connected?
It says it is.
All right.
So it's only going to let me confirm. I can't cancel. I can only confirm. So basically,
it's moving forward.
Great thing about the PlayStation is
you're locked in.
They offer day one digital downloads, which I love because I don't want the disc. I don't want to lose the disc. I just want a digital download of it. And the way that PlayStation handles DRM currently is that you can download and buy the game day one on your console for most games, and then you can install it, and then you can install it on a second PlayStation as well. Ashley has an Xbox. I bought Last of Us, playing it on my PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
She has an old school like launch one. That's like
the fat one?
Like the Spider-Man.
I've got that one too.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man
phone. 60 gig.
Yeah.
60 gig? Yeah.
Backwards compatible.
And so I installed it on hers and took it offline, logged myself out, and just logged in as her, and I could still play my copy of Last of Us as her on her console.
Okay.
Offline and everything. So it allows you to do 2 installations. And so here's what happens now. So you just go to the PlayStation Store and re-download it, but then when you go to put a third one on, it's saying an error occurred. I guess our PlayStation got knocked offline. But what happens is when you go to download it a third time, it'll go through what's called an activating screen where it's doing something obviously on the server end. And it says you cannot download this title. You've already downloaded it to 2 PlayStation consoles already. It's not available to download on this one.
So it's similar to like how Adobe does the Creative Cloud stuff.
I just think it's similar to an iPod, that you get a song and you can put it on so many of your devices, and then once you hit the max amount of devices,
it just stops you.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done.
You have to deactivate all and then start over.
It actually used to be, according to stuff I read online, it actually used to be 5 devices. And that includes the handheld, the Vita, and the PlayStation consoles. You can do it up to 5, and then they made a change a couple years ago to
only
2 devices.
2.
Brandon, can you just make sure we're plugged in there? I'm going to turn off the system and then turn it back on again so we can show that. There, I'm killing it. I'll reload it now.
So then they recently went from 5 to 2. That's interesting. I wonder why the reduction.
Do you think people were abusing it, maybe?
I'm sure. If you could install a game, a digitally downloaded game, it's probably the day that they moved to digital one downloads or plan to do it as well. Which is, it's interesting to see the way, if you look back across time, like what companies are planning, you can kind of get a feel for it. I don't think it's a coincidence that EA abandoned all their online passes right before Microsoft announced the fact that they were going to have online checks for things, and a potential way for publishers to, have a more standardized way to handle used games. That's basically what that boils down to.
Yeah.
It's privacy in its used games. And I think the used games issue kind of hides behind the privacy or the piracy stuff. Here, let's go to the Xbox now.
Okay.
And I'll turn this bad boy back on for that. Okay, so here's the way it works on the Xbox. I'm going to sign in as me here. Looks like I'm already signed in. All right, so I'm going to go to a game. I'm going to go to a game that I've downloaded. I'm going to go to Borderlands 2. And this is a digital download, okay? So I downloaded this on my console at home. The way that DRM for digital download works on the Xbox 360, this is current generation Xbox, current generation.
Right now.
The way it works right now, current. Thanks,
Just in case people aren't following.
Thanks for clarifying. The way it works is I have a copy of Borderlands 2 at home, digital copy on the console that I bought it on. That means anybody who plays on that console, anybody at all, offline, online, whatever, they can play it. Anybody in my family can play it, my kids can play it, Ashley can play it. Doesn't matter. Anybody can play on that console.
Could a hobo walking down the street play it?
Hobo, if he has an Xbox controller and it's synced to my thing, then he can absolutely
Which would be a little
do it.
creepy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's synced.
Exactly right. That would be a little bit creepy. But the thing that Xbox has different than PlayStation 3 is that you can download it on any single Xbox console, unlimited amount of times. The difference being is that after the first console, after that first one, you have to be signed in. And I have tested it before with one of my kids. Could I be signed in, and then they just play it as themselves? And there was tests we did before. I didn't do that today for this. But if you look at Borderlands here, I'll give you an example of it. And JJ or Brandon, if you want to reach down there, and I'll tell you when to yank that thing. So the network cable on the Xbox. Let me show you how it works here. So you have to be online to play it. Okay, so you have to prove that basically that you're you.
Okay.
So on a second console or third console or 20th console, you have to be logged in on your Xbox Live profile. And so what happens is, let's start the game here. You can see where I am in Borderlands if you want to get jealous of my character.
Sawtooth Cauldron, huh?
There you go. I'm trying to get an achievement right now where you uncover all the map areas in Borderlands. You know how I am about exploration and stuff.
Are you excited for the new DLC next week?
I'm getting kind of DLC'd out.
Oh,
I
really?
think, yeah.
What's the last one?
Okay, so here we are. And Brandon, if you want to reach down there and yank it. So if I lose my connection.
Yank the network on the Xbox.
On the Xbox, the blue cable. And we'll lose our connection. Look at the top here. You'll see what it says.
Okay, it's out.
It says disconnected from Xbox Live. Reconnect to continue. 10 minutes remaining. So on the current generation of the Xbox console, you have unlimited downloads. You can put it on however many consoles you want, but you have to be online. And essentially the check that's in place right now is every 10 minutes. As a guy who does all digital downloads or prefers them, to move to an hour was, to me, like an improvement. I don't think many people are aware that that exists.
No.
And what it'll do is it'll count down. It'll say every minute, it'll pop another one of those Xbox announcements saying 9 minutes remaining, 8 minutes. When you get all the way down to the end, to 0, it then pops one of the square screens, and it says, you have to be signed in to continue playing this game, sign in, or exit to dashboard. And so you can wait until your internet connection comes back up to do it. As I can tell you, as somebody, and I know not everybody in the world is like this, I realize that, but as somebody who plays a lot of digital downloads, I've lost my connection, I've seen that 10-minute error probably a couple dozen times while I've been playing online games, but I've never seen before it go to like 5 minutes even. Like my connection just reconnects
Can you still
itself.
play
So
while
there
that's
it is.
going?
It's at 9 minutes.
Or does it like just stop you completely?
No, I'm still playing. So I have
Okay.
9 minutes left to play. I can save.
That's kind of cool. Yeah,
I
it gives
can
you
do
time
whatever.
to save.
Yeah.
Huh.
I can be really bad at sniping for the next 9 minutes. So if this was the console that I had bought the game on, and not the one I re-downloaded on, I wouldn't matter if I got knocked offline.
Okay.
That wouldn't matter a bit. It might change. What is it on achievements if you're offline?
There's no timestamps.
It doesn't show your date, right?
Right.
We ran into that with our Flock thing. People were
really?
checking my profile to see if I got the last achievement in Flock.
I hate
So
when people do that with Let's Plays and
Yep.
stuff. It's like, why? It's like, oh man, everybody's playing Grand Theft Auto around this time. I guess that's what they're doing. It's like, well, I mean, why you gotta do that?
Why
You
you
gotta
gotta
do
do
it?
it?
Why does it matter? You can't wait the extra 3 days or whatever to see?
Well, it's just ruining it for everybody else. They used to do that on Red versus Blue as well. They would get into my games on Bungie and see like characters that were in it and where locations we were shooting in.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
That was a lot
That's
of fun.
kinda
yeah,
cool,
Here, let me see that. Oh, got my
So yeah,
PlayStation
we
back up.
had to start using like secret accounts and.
Thanks, Brando. So Brandon, let's go back to the PlayStation here. So let's see what happens here. Now this is me. I'm signed in on PlayStation 3. I have downloaded this on my console. I've downloaded it on Ashley's console. So I'm going to try to download Last of Us right here on this new console.
Have you finished it yet, by the way?
I have not finished it yet. I'm pretty far into it. How do I get the fuck over on that thing?
Games.
There you go.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So it's going to give me the little blurb here that I'm not downloading the game, I'm downloading the installer and all that stuff. And I'll say, that's fine with me, I can do that. Then you'll see here, next it'll go to an activating. Activating, please wait. Okay, and I can barely read it, but it says the PS3 system could not be activated. This content cannot be used. Your account already has 2 PS3s registered to this, activated this title, etc., etc.
Oh,
so that's it. So it's like I'm locked out, I can't do it. I have to go and use their DRM tool to deactivate the thing, like kind of like you do on iTunes, where you deactivate an iPod.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, on iTunes, I feel like it's not very fine-tuned on iTunes. On iTunes, you deactivate every device.
You gotta start over.
And they're usually windowed, like you can do that once every 6 months, or something like that.
I think you get 5 activations, and then you can deactivate all of them at once.
Right.
And
the Xbox has a tool like that too, where you can say, "This is my home console. Transfer all my licenses to the next console I sign on to," and you can do that, I think, once every 12 months.
Yeah. It's really good for arcade games and stuff.
Did they shorten that window recently? Isn't it 6 now?
I think if you go through a refurb, they'll unlock it for you, or they always change it, kind of tweak the system.
Yeah, I like something like this, like the Sony one, where if you can specify individual units to deactivate. It's also like the Adobe software, where you can install on 2 different systems, and then when you want to move to another one, you go to like help deactivate.
Yeah.
And it deactivates on that one, so you can activate somewhere else.
Yeah, and Nintendo supposedly has no DRM whatsoever.
Really?
But the uniqueness of their hardware is kind of what they're using as a way to, get around DRM issues. Although I was also reading, unfortunately, that the Wii U is the most emulated and hacked console now because of the lack of DRM, which is like a big kind of fuck you to somebody who's doing what everybody wants. You know?
Well, that's what killed. I mean, we talk about all the time. That's what killed the Dreamcast. Was when people figured out how to burn that bootloader, and you could
play whatever the hell
you want.
Yep.
Yeah, use it as an emulator. Download games and play them with no problem.
Yeah, it's a sad statement, isn't it? And Miyamoto came out today, or maybe earlier this week, and said something about the Wii U and the Nintendo DRM policies. When he essentially said something which I've always thought was an unstated thing, which was like Nintendo considers themselves a toy company, and they don't want to restrict access to their games because a big part of what they do long term is that people want to go back and revisit these things that they had in their youth.
Yeah.
And they want them to be able to do that. Could be a problem with DRM issues with, Sony said recently they want everyone to go digital. They see that on the roadmap. And Xbox very clearly said what they would like to do on their console. And it does beg the question, like, what happens 5 years from now, 6 years from now, when, a game you bought and installed needs to activate online, like a Sega Soccer Slam 2 or a Halo 2 even, which got shut down online. What happens then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could argue it's already happening because you can play Halo 2 campaign, but you can't play the multiplayer aspect.
It's like that with EA games. Like the sports games are great examples. Like after like 2 years, like it's just like, yeah, we're done. Just shuts it off.
Yeah, we're moving on.
So for like a lot of achievements, it's like, well, if you didn't get it, then screw you.
And also, didn't they deactivate the Cerberus network for Mass Effect 2? Like now it's available to everyone. Like you don't have to have a code to use the Cerberus network on Mass Effect 2.
I see. That's another thing too. I never know how I feel about that. Like when I read there's a pre-order bonus. Like for Left 4 Dead 2 was a baseball bat at GameStop if you pre-ordered it. But then after a little while, everybody gets the baseball bat.
Yeah.
Like after like 6 weeks, everybody gets it. And it's kind of like it kind of takes away the whole reason to pre-order it. Not like an achievement for pre-ordering, which lasts forever.
Yeah, you got it.
I have 2 things that I can lord over Gus in our video game careers. One is that I have an Xbox Live beta tester memory unit.
I have one of those too now.
And somebody sent you one, some jackass from the audience. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jerk.
Appreciate it.
One?
But now the other thing I can lord over you is that I somehow I found out you could pre-order the Xbox One in the Dash. I thought, that's easy, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I went to Amazon. I was like, oh, okay, just pre-order this right now.
I'm pretty sure it'll come with an activation to get the achievement. There's an achievement with the day one unit.
Why not just pre-order it again on the Xbox and cancel it when you get the achievement?
Yeah, get the achievement.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you can't take it away.
Don't say that. That's horrible. Somebody we know is going to be like, fucking A, with you having to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah, God, I'm still bitter about the 0 hour achievement, so it makes me like nervous about getting this achievement too.
Explain what that is.
So we went to the Xbox 360 launch event, which
that was in the middle of the desert, right?
Yeah, it was at
like
the Mojave Desert.
That's pretty cool.
It's at, I think it was like at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works or something. Anyways, giant hangar out in the desert. And it was the night the Xbox 360 was coming out. They had them there, so if you pre-ordered it, you could buy it or you could pick it up. And they had stations to migrate your Xbox Live account from the original Xbox to the 360.
Yeah.
And when you did it, you unlocked a special achievement called Zero
That's
Hour.
so cool.
That was location-based. You had to be there. So Bernie and I both went through the process. Like you download your profile, put on like a memory stick for the Xbox 360, update it, they transfer it, they give you the new memory stick for the 360. And that was supposed to unlock the achievement for you, and neither of us got it. Despite the fact we both had memory cards and we were both obviously there.
And
I would have complained.
We have achievements. Both of us have achievements from that night.
Yep. We have achievements a day before launch.
I think mine is in Quake, and yours is in like Dead or Alive or something.
Perfect Dark Zero.
Perfect Dark Zero.
And I think a Left 4 Dead one too. Or excuse me, a Dead or Alive one, yeah.
Yeah. So we have the achievements that we played with our 360
that would bother me
profile.
For like ever.
But we did not get the fucking 0 Hour achievement.
It sucks. You know who does have it?
Yeah.
Ashley has it because she was there as a frag doll.
We talked to people who work at Microsoft. We're like, listen, we were there. Can you just unlock it first? And they're like, oh no, that's impossible. There's no way to do that.
Frankie from 343 has it too, and I see it all the time. I don't know why. I think he had it as you can make that your gamer pick too.
Oh,
and I think that was
I would
his gamer
absolutely
pick.
do that.
I was like, you mother.
It'd be cool if you can keep that at the top of your list. Like if you go to like my games, like pin it. It's like, oh yeah, I played whatever, but at the top is always that thing. Like, oh yeah, I was there. You weren't.
Why are your hands all bloody?
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, I cut my knuckle.
What'd you do?
I don't know.
You just cut your knuckle?
I just cut my knuckle.
Ray, you want to talk about it?
I'm really upset I didn't get that achievement.
His other hand's bloody too. It's like it's a crossing over.
I'm all right.
I think he's touching it.
Don't die.
I'll be fine.
So do you think, since they have this achievement for pre-ordering the Xbox One, that they're going to start doing more special achievements that aren't just game-related?
Like time-based stuff?
Things
Well,
that,
they've already
time
said
or
they're going to do
location-based?
TV-based achievements for watching shows. Which, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I mean, for something like that, it's like, man, I want to get this achievement, and just turn it on and walk away.
Yeah, I guess you would, right? I mean, I guess
What if there's a quiz afterwards? Like,
Kinect watches.
I mean,
that's
a good point. God, don't say that.
It could be
No.
It could be like when you do an online driving test where they like throw in nonsense information and
To see if you're paying attention.
Yeah, and then they ask you afterwards like,
I don't
what
know,
color
that's-
was Jane's dog?
I don't know how I feel about that. The achievement system is like, to me, is almost like the pinnacle of it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I think individual developers could get better about the way they put out achievements. I think people put way too many multiplayer achievements in
too
there.
many.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think multiplayer.
Ranked multiplayer. Like, if it's in custom, that's fine. But, like, ranked stuff, it's like, why? Why do I got to get 100 kills with a sniper
ranked
rifle?
multiplayer achievement should be like 10% of the achievements.
Here's what we should do. We've talked about this a lot. Maybe on next episode of the patch, we should come up with like
A manifesto?
like a bill of rights or whatever for achievements.
A
Like
manifesto is
like
what
a
I'm gonna call it.
manifesto. Sure, we'll call it the patch
Get it on a
manifesto.
scroll as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can make some guidelines for what we think achievements.
Do you
how they
think
should be
that's
based.
worse or collection-based achievements? Like games that just have collectibles that have no purpose but just to be there?
Okay, I just finished Far Cry 3. Well, finished it. I have the co-op missions left, and I played one. Didn't like that a bit.
Oh, really?
I've
Yeah.
not
we
played
did
any
a full
co-op.
Let's Play of it. We found it very fun.
The one with all the dogs that go after you for whatever
Yeah.
reason, right? Yes.
That was the thing.
Yeah, that was the thing. But so I got 6 of those to get, and then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about the collectibles in Far Cry 3 is the way everyone should do it, which is you can buy the locations of them.
Yes,
Oh,
that I
right.
like.
Yeah, as you go up. And it also numbers them. Like you found letter number 20. And it's like, then if I go online, I know which ones I'm missing.
Achievement tracking.
Yeah.
I think the first game I did was like the Darkness one. But I know the orange box had a pop up.
Yeah,
where the darkness you had to go back to the main menu and check.
Orange Box is the first one I think
Yeah.
of. But Tomb Raider, I don't know if you played Tomb Raider, it's
Haven't
also
played
like
yet.
that, where you can unlock all the collectibles in an area.
Yeah, you get like an ability and then it like just shows you like this is amazing. You just like mark it on the map and there's like a big beam of light that's blue and you're like, oh, it's over there, and you just pick it up. It's like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah, but
That's
sometimes it's like, it's kind of behind that mountain, and you have to like look at it a bit, and you're like, oh, okay, that's
So
what
that's
it is.
better than like having nothing at all.
Yeah.
You know what the thing about it is too is like you both played Far Cry 3, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Single player? Is that if you find some of those collectibles, like the relics were the big one. Another thing they did great is there's 120 collectible relics. The achievements for finding 60
You
of
only
them.
need to get
Yeah.
half.
That's
Thank you.
great.
Thank you, Ubisoft.
You know,
Especially because some of those are like underground, and you're like, I'm where it should be. Oh, fuck, it's somewhere
It's like
under me. You're like,
underground or in a waterfall, and you're like,
yeah, where's the entrance to get here?
yeah, and you're walking around for like 15 minutes.
And the other thing too is that there was a guy on Reddit that I loved. Is he posted a photo after he got the achievement, or like maybe his PC. He decided to get all 120 relics because something really badass must happen because you get experience and all that. And he said he posted, he goes, God damn it. It was just like, you found relic 120 of 120. That's it. It went away. He got nothing for it. Said it took him hours to do it.
You know, some people just like being completionists. Like, oh, I only needed 60. Well, I'm going to get the other 60 just, because I have to. Or me, it's like, got my achievement, done with that.
See, that's the way I am too. Yeah. And sometimes that works against me. Like, I can say that I kind of stopped playing Old Republic, the MMO, primarily because it had a storyline that ended. And I was like, okay, I guess that's the end. You know, like that feeling of closure.
Yeah.
That's hard to explain. Like, that's how I feel about achievements too. When I get it, I'm like, okay, I did that. And now that's done. And it's not going away. And I just got, on Flock, I just got my last achievement after 4 fucking years on that game.
Nice. Congratulations.
God, there's nothing better to know, you talk about saves, that when that achievement pops up,
You're
that
done.
it's never going away.
Yeah.
Like even if your power goes out right then, the fact that you saw that, that's locked in. You know, if you lose your save or whatever, doesn't matter.
Is that the biggest gap between like achievements and Flock, like 4 years? Like your last achievement was whenever?
Yeah, 2009. April of 2009 was
For
my
me,
last
it's
one.
Geometry Wars 1. It was 2006 and 2013.
I probably have that gap on Geometry Wars. I just don't have the bookend achievement,
Yeah.
and I'm not going back to get it.
That game is, it's a game.
I will never feel like more of an old man than when I play Geometry Wars. I'm just holding a controller screaming, I can't see anything. There's too much noise. I feel like
So many colors, too much is going on.
I don't know how people make heads or tails of that goddamn game. And Jack's really good at it too.
Yeah, he's like a savant.
I mean, he's like the oldest person in the world.
Yeah.
But the thing about collectibles too, like look at the Far Cry ones. Like you guys are talking about the caverns and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
You don't know where you are. It's annoying to collect them. It must be hard as fuck to make all that stuff. Like, oh, your job is to make a cavern that goes 80 meters deep into this hill and twists and turns, and it's like there's nothing in
There's
it.
literally nothing in there
Yeah.
but like a skeleton and the collectible.
That's
it.
Plus,
The
also, it's
developer
like,
be like,
I
"God
wonder
damn it."
how they decide where to put those collectibles. Because, you know, we talk about it all the time, we do commercial work, so we get pre-release games quite frequently. One time we got like a AAA shooter that was like a big release for that year.
Yeah.
And it had collectibles in it.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, cool, we know where they are when the game
Yeah.
finally comes out. And so we kind of scouted them out, looked for them all. When the final version of the game came out, they were all in totally different locations.
Really?
Not
That's
any
weird
of them
to me.
were the same.
Like, why would you change it? Especially for something like collectible. I don't know.
Yeah, so that made me like really wary of trying to like learn a game based on
I'll just wait till
a
it's actually
pre-release
out,
one.
yeah.
Because you could waste so much time doing that. So
Somebody says online that Dead Island 1 made you collect only just a handful of the collectibles. Then they were like, nah, fuck it. Dead Island 2, they were
That's true.
Riptide, they were like all of them.
Dead Rising 1, it's like, I forgot what you had to find, but it was one of those collectible-based achievements, kind of like in Dead Space, where you look at it, like Dead Space 1, it's like, well, how am I going to get that? And then like 3/4 of the way through, you got it, you're like, oh, all right. Yeah, and Dead Island's the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, I got this on accident. Dead Island 2, it's like, I got to look all over the place with these goddamn things.
Yeah.
And it's like brochures and this and that, postcards, like, why?
I loved in Dead Rising, the first one. It was so Japanese, you take photos of stuff.
Yeah,
Remember
it's
that?
PP stickers.
The PP stickers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you had to take photos of zombies and get like sexy ones
Yeah.
and funny
Yeah,
ones.
erotic and stuff like
yeah.
that. I think that was more annoying than the 7-Day Survivor achievement.
No
Looking
way,
for
I
the
love
PPC.
the photography stuff, the PP stuff.
The PP stickers? Nah. I don't like that at
So
all.
you have the 7-Day Survivor
Yeah.
team as well?
I have every single Dead Rising game completed as of right now.
Oh, wow. So
That's like one of my favorite series on the Xbox, yeah. All of them are done.
Dead Rising 2, I go back and I like just basically drive that Hummer through the courtyard over and over again because I'm just trying to get the
70-something thousand,
Ah,
yeah.
is it 70?
Yeah.
In State of Decay, it was only 250.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
For
I'm happy.
the number of zombies to run over.
Yeah,
you only have to run over 250. It's like
You
out
only,
of
you
accident.
only have to kill one with the door, the card door.
Yeah.
Which I did on accident. I'm like, oh, it's only one? Okay.
Okay, now see, that is something I think is good for achievements. I would not have known about the door mechanic unless they made me get an achievement in it.
No, they explained it the
Yeah,
first time
they
you get in a car.
explained
They
it,
say, or when there's a zombie.
You know, it's easy to miss that stuff. I miss bats in Fallout, dude. I played the first 30 minutes of Fallout manually aiming at people, not
Yeah,
using bats.
Jeff played through Crackdown without knowing you could target.
It's easy to miss, man. It's some things are easy to miss. Maybe not.
The
bats.
target thing is like, really, you never hit left trigger once in the whole game? Wow, that's impressive.
You'd be the best Crackdown player in the world after
Yeah.
that.
So it's State of Decay. Am I just getting constantly sidetracked by side missions?
100%, by the way. You're 100% in that game?
I got
I
100%
feel like
in it.
I'm spinning my wheels all the time. Like I'm looking for materials.
Yeah.
I'm looking for food.
You feel overwhelmed in that game very easily with
Yeah.
always needing like materials or fuel or like, hey, there's a feral zombie over here, take it out. It's like, God
I
damn it.
moved
For
my
those of
base
you-
just to move it.
Yeah.
Like, I was
For
like,
those of
does
you
this do anything?
not familiar with what we're talking about, State of Decay is an Xbox Live Arcade game that came out like a week ago.
A week or two. I
Like
think
2 weeks
week
ago. I
and a
think it
half
was
ago?
the week before E3.
Yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
basically just before World War Z and just before Last of Us came out.
Yeah.
And it's an Xbox Live Arcade game, but it's essentially best way to describe it would be a light version of DayZ.
Yeah.
Or, no, DayZ.
DayZ, yeah.
It'd be an easy
it's
way to
like-
describe that.
Resource management,
And-
like a third-person action game,
It
zombies and
does-
stuff, survival.
It does that thing really well where it hooks you, where you're like, I don't want to play anymore. I'll just do one more mission.
Yep.
Like, something just pops up, be like, okay, that was quick. I'll just do one more.
Oh, I could build more bunks. Yeah, I'll get more
Yeah,
materials.
it's what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
3 hours later, it's like, oh, one more.
In that every game, that's how me collecting relics in Far Cry 3 as well. And also the thing I liked about it too is that did you keep the starting character Marcus all the way through your game?
He is still alive. I'm not done yet. He's still alive.
Okay.
God, but I lost Maya, like the first woman you encounter, in the dumbest way ever. It made me so fucking mad.
I only lost 2 people, and that's because you needed to for achievements. One person needs to get torn apart, and I'm like, you're dead. Just walk in the middle. They got ripped in half. And the second one, you need to go out in a blaze of glory, which is pretty much cook a grenade. So I just took some random schlub, and I'm like, all right, just stand there. He gets them all, and it's like, boom. That's it.
And also, so that's a better example. I would not have known that mechanic existed ever. That if you have a grenade armed when you die, your character just pulls the pin and blows up all the zombies.
Also, I will say I did cheat. I was with Marcus, and I jumped off a rock, which I thought was like a little drop. It was like a mile. And he died, and it was doing like the whole like hit A to like get up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to dashboard that, reload the save. He was fine. Just because everything was maxed out his stats, I'm not going to lose him.
Yeah.
Not this far.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I fell twice. It's the overlook that's at the opposite end of town as the church. It's the overlook. You have a spotting mission there sometimes.
I did that a lot because I always didn't grab the ladder, and I just walked off and took like monstrous damage. I'm like, I'm stupid.
I fell all the way to the cliff twice. I did it because I had to do a second playthrough, and I was like, even thought, I remember I fell off this last time. Fuck, I just fell again. Both times my character went down, died, and it loaded, but it loaded with them back in the church.
Really?
Like somehow falling didn't kill the character.
Interesting.
But that game is pretty unforgiving.
Yeah.
Like Finch was telling me, he was doing a thing where he was searching for something, found an explosive, and it exploded, and he died.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said.
So every time, like, you can search, and then you can hold like left bumper
I did
to
it
make it
every
go
time.
faster.
you can pretty much do everything in that game faster, and it makes more noise.
So does it make noise every time you search fast?
I think if you look at the mini map,
Yeah, you
a
can
little
see
ping.
the ping.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like, it's set it up where only sometimes it makes noise when you search fast. But for me, every time I search fast,
Well,
it makes
every time
noise.
you search, you see the ping.
Yeah.
But there'll be certain times where it's like the game will tell you like that was extremely loud.
That was
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah, and then that means like
Things are
everything.
definitely coming. Yeah.
That's horrible. That definitely penalizes you for the 4 seconds you would have saved.
I'm impatient every time. I'm like, just hurry up.
I think that's what State of Decay gets really right, is that it does show you that in a slow zombie apocalypse, like a Romero-style one, that eventually it's your own goddamn impatience that's going to fuck you up.
I never fast search. Like, I gave up. I did it like 3 times, and each time
You're extremely patient.
stuff came up, and I'm like, fuck it.
I can't do
Like,
it.
first zombie out of the house, I'm not going to club this one, I'm going to shoot it. Bang! Then I was like,
Yeah.
fuck. Then you're out of bullets, and you're like hammering away, and you run
And you're
out
out
of
of stamina, and you're like, I need a breather. It's like, not now, Marcus.
I'm gonna
What
get
are you
a
doing?
snack.
I was one time running through this house, like I had like 8 zombies around me, and you're just trying to like get to a point where you can like carve out one of them and knock him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And I'm running, and it's like, it was Marcus, and I'm like, I'm gonna fuck. It was on my second run through. I'm like, I'm gonna lose Marcus on this. How am I gonna do this? And I'm like fighting and fighting and fighting, and Ashley just goes, she goes, why don't you just get out of there? And I'm like, don't help me.
I always had a car nearby for stuff like that, especially with the hordes.
Yeah.
I would just like get in the car, run them over, get them, clear it, and just get out and do what I was doing.
And that game has I was the same way on my second run through. That game has a really interesting mechanic in it, in that there's a lot of characters in the game. So you can like pick up other survivors and things like that.
If you lose a certain amount of characters, does the game like add more, or is it like a set number? Because I lost the 2 for the achievement, and then it's like 2 more appear. Like,
I
okay.
think that game started off as a much bigger game, like an MMO style game.
I remember them
and
saying they wanted to do an
they
MMO or
they
something
brought
like
it way down because did you ever get into like all the radio calls that you can make? Like you can call in artillery
yeah.
strikes, you
Oh,
can
yeah,
call
yeah.
in snipers,
Yeah.
and you can do calls to other survivors, and it
yeah.
picks up other pockets of
Yeah,
survivors.
you can
Yeah.
do calls also to search for specific resources.
that.
Yeah.
I did that a lot.
I got to the point where I could call for backup, and SWAT team members would show up.
The only thing I really used was call for a vehicle and call to find building material, because that was the one
Yeah,
thing I
building
needed.
material, all
Everything.
the
You
fucking
can call for a
time.
vehicle?
Yeah.
I didn't know that because vehicles get demolished in that game really quickly. But there's a call you can make to do survivors, and you can find them.
Okay.
So one of the things that drives me crazy is like when you're making that transition from the church to another living space, like how far you have to fucking drive around to get there.
Yep.
It's like
When I finally moved, I stood at the church for a very long time. Like all the resources there were kind of just gone. But there was a side mission. We got to talk to the Wilkersons, the
Yeah.
kind of hillbilly guys, and I completely forgot about it to the end of the game. And my base was like bottom left hand
achievement
corner of the
one,
map.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were all the way at the top right hand corner. And some of their missions are drive back and forth. And I'm like, I wish I had a fast travel system. I know there's cars, but I'm just lazy.
Yeah.
But
I would look for cars that I knew were faster. It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I
muscle
got
car.
this old pickup. Yeah,
is that
look
why
for-
you had to restart? Because you missed one of those side?
So I was going to say, there's so many characters in the game. There's an interesting mechanic in that not all the players in the game, all the people giving you advice, you're normally saying, hey, guy, why don't you look down your iron sights? And you look down at and like you're used to now that games teach you how to play the game through the characters in the game. This thing fucks with you. You're not supposed to listen to some of the characters. Like there's the dude in the game who says, don't ever use cars. It's like if you should never use a car because it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you listen to that guy, I thought, you got to stay stealthy and never use a car. By the end of the game, I'm like, fuck car, let's go.
I did that for a long time, and then finally one time I was like, why am I not using the fucking cars? They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere for a reason.
And the Wilkersons, there's this is not a spoiler, there's a quest chain with them.
Yeah.
And there's a character who doesn't like the Wilkersons and says, I think this is wrong, I don't think you should do business with them. And then your next conversation you have, you go, you know what, this doesn't feel right, I don't want to do it. And so if you select that, just because I always make the good choice in a game. I won't ever make the bad choice.
I make the achievement choice,
good
or bad.
And I didn't know it until that it killed the Wilkerson's quest tree, and then I couldn't get the achievement.
I was at the end of the game, like the point of no return, and the quest didn't pop up, and I was like doing some cleanup here and there, and then literally like probably 5 or 10 minutes before, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do a new playthrough. I got like the symbol. It's like, hey, just come here for something, and I'm like, thank Christ, that saved the whole playthrough.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's time-based or I had to talk to somebody, but I was just like getting resources, and then the little notification came up.
Was it the Wilkerson's chain?
Yeah.
There's one where you have to have a bunch of ammo to do trading.
That's probably it. I didn't have a lot of ammo.
Yep. And actually, on my second run through, I'm like, I got this chain so early in the game last time. I had already gone through like stuff down in the town and all this stuff.
Yeah, like I always had food and medicine and fuel, but I never had building materials, which I don't think you'll ever have a lot of building materials. And then ammo, it's just like
we need those building materials for upgrades into switch
yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
So you use them right away, and then the ammo, it's like, I mean, it's not really that important. I melee a lot.
Yeah, I didn't recognize what the ammo symbol was for a long time. I
Oh,
was
really?
like, what is that? It's
really?
It's bullets.
Bullets, yeah, it's 3 bullets.
Well, did you know that too? You can set up outposts based on a resource, as opposed to just outposts based on a house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that I learned far too late. Like I would have done that with building materials or
Right.
something.
And then it gives you like a steady chain of building materials,
So
which doesn't make a lot of sense. But
When you set up an outpost and you set traps, does it kill only hordes when they go by automatically?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, outposts they just help with hordes.
Okay, yeah, because I tried to set him up like a defensive line against,
Oh,
like,
really?
like kind of close against like the rest of the town.
Yeah.
So whenever stuff comes by, they get blown up.
That's another reason why you want to move bases or whatever, mainly for the achievement, but also every time you move a base, you get 2 more outpost things.
Yeah, and it's another achievement.
There's an achievement to build 8, so you need to move twice.
Yeah, eight outposts. The best though, have you finished the game?
No.
Can I give you potential like a tip?
Sure.
The best base is the one that's in the warehouse in the southwest of town. It's
That's the last
enormous.
one I got.
I haven't
Yeah.
gone there yet.
Yeah, it's enormous.
I'll
So
go
they
check it out.
take you on a mission to like show you a place you could go, like a sample, and you say, well, you can search for more. There's one literally down the block that's like 10
Yeah, I
times
went
better.
to the one they
There-
take you
there's-
to, the
yeah, there-
house with the wall and the
Yeah,
tree house.
on
there's
the
one
same
across
block.
the street. That was the second one, and then like a few hours later, I moved to the big one. I'm like, okay, that's
I'll
fine.
just move then.
Yeah.
One of the things that does bother me about that game is it has a lot of vertical tearing. Like, as you're playing,
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh, I don't notice that.
constantly.
It just has camera issues to me,
Yeah.
which kill a game faster than anything else
There's
for me.
pop-ins too. It's like
Yeah.
little things like that, but it's not.
Like
It obviously didn't bother me that much because I played that game all weekend last week.
when you're in the doorway of a house or one of those sheds, and there's like 3 zombies inside, and your camera's outside the shed,
yeah.
you're like, fuck me running, dude.
Yeah, and sometimes like I'll be inside with like you have to go find a survivor. You find them, you're like in a garage or something. It's like defend him. So you go outside and you kill all the zombies, and then like one of them will warp through the door or
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the wall,
Yep.
and is in there. You're like, what the fuck? How'd you get in?
I also hate when they block the doorway.
Oh,
And it's just like-
NPCs are the fucking worst. Like you go and you rescue them, and they're like they just stand in the doorway like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out
you
of
have
the
to
way.
like crouch and jump and roll. It's like, please move. Just please move.
My favorite is like, I just chuck a Molotov, and if it hits a survivor, another one, they go, you've lost trust.
Yeah.
That survivor, I'm like, I don't give
Yeah,
a
I don't
fuck,
care.
dude. It's fine with me. You can trust that I'm going to throw a Molotov at him next time. How about that for trust? Yeah, but Undead Labs, company that made State of Decay.
Hope to make another
Thumbs
one.
up from me, man. I loved it.
Yeah, it's fun. So, what happens like early in the game? This is like the first thing in the game.
Yeah.
You're like Marcus, and you're with your friend Ed, and Ed gets attacked, and then you go to the church, and he's like sick, and you got to get the doctor. Like that never resolved for me.
Oh, well, you will. It will.
I've already moved and everything.
Oh, I don't know about that. You might have interrupted it. It's possible.
I don't remember anything happening. Like he was just always around the whole time.
Yeah, he's like-
Ed's a character that you
he's
can
sick.
play if you get him healthy again.
He's sick, and the doctor's there. I'm like, why the fuck do we move him? He's just
Yeah,
like
I
laying
don't-
around.
I
know-
really don't remember.
I know that I can tell you for sure that Ed is a playable character.
Okay.
If you can get him healthy again.
Okay.
It's possible.
I'll work on that.
It depends on how you do it. But that leads us into obvious discussion here about Last of Us.
Yeah.
Which we've all. Have you played too?
I have not played.
You haven't played. All right. Well, we can hear about it. So you can ask
I'm all
questions about
excited,
it.
yeah.
So you played it before anyone else I know. You got an
Yeah.
early copy and fucking hoarded it like a bastard.
I
blame you.
lent it to Brandon
When?
Friday.
Friday. Okay,
Did you
that's
finish
good.
it?
No, I lent it Thursday. Thursday. I gave it to him on Thursday.
One
Wow,
day.
that's impressive. Brandon, you said you played through the entire thing in like 2 sessions, right? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he finished it Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game that good?
It's really good.
Yeah.
And so it's a PlayStation 3 title exclusive. It's made by Naughty Dog. It was
Yeah.
supposed to come out in May, and then they pushed it to mid-June. And then you picked it up. I picked it up. Tell me what you think.
It's awesome. I think it's one of the best games I've played, I think. It's just a lot of fun. Like, it takes... Like, Uncharted has a really good feel to its combat. Like, the way you handle weapons. And Melee, it feels like really visceral. And I feel like they translated that well to this game. And refined it even further. And the story's, kind of a standard, like zombie apocalypse kind of thing, with a few twists. But I thought the voice acting and the animation was awesome.
Did you play the Walking Dead Xbox Live
Yeah.
Arcade game? Do you have the same like emotional attachment to what's her name, Ellie? To like Clementine, where it's like I don't want anything bad to happen to her?
It's more complex because with Clementine, it's like a young
She's like
child.
9 or
it's
something.
like it's
And
not.
she
as,
can't really defend herself.
and she can't. You can't have as like. It's not as complex of a relationship.
Yeah.
Of course, with Ellie, who's supposed to be older, more of a teenager, like she understands things a lot better and has her own thoughts about stuff.
Gotcha.
Well, okay. I don't think... Well, it could be. Potentially spoiler.
Has it been 2 weeks? That's a cutoff for spoilers.
It's like the time frame of the game is different than it is in the Walking Dead game. The Walking Dead game is you're in the car on the highway and the
it
zombie
just
outbreak
starts,
happens. Yeah. It's not that same time frame. I'll just say that.
Okay.
In fact, there's a moment in the game where you realize it's really not that. So
I mean, I don't think that's a surprise. All the trailers have like cities in ruin with overgrowth and foliage everywhere.
Yeah.
So you know that it's not like a recent thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. It's very early in the game, but there's definitely some cool. There's the narrative moments. It's Naughty Dog. They make the Uncharted series, and cinematically, these games are unbelievably impressive. Unbelievably.
There's some times where you're like sneaking around and like the hand-to-hand melee stuff is really crazy. Like the way you like choke people out and kill them.
Yeah. People are saying the game's pretty like violent.
Where you're like murdering someone essentially, like choking them from behind, and you'll just hear Ellie go, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Like it's like
God, there's so much cool little stuff in that game. There's a leveling system for your character.
Really?
Yeah, and stuff like that, and like
But
like
it's,
some
it's,
RPG
sim-
elements.
it's simplified to the point where it's not like super complex. It's like you get one resource and then you can spend it to like improve certain attributes.
Yeah.
And you can also improve your weapons. But it's not like you have to find a bunch of different item types. It's like you find parts.
Oh, okay.
And parts can be used to upgrade any weapon.
Somebody was
tape
telling me
and
that since
alcohol.
you're like a normal guy, like if you aim down sight or whatever, it's just like the crosshairs moving, like you have shaky hands. Is that true?
Yeah, and you can reduce that with leveling.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Like,
And you're not really a normal
yeah.
dude. He's a pretty rough dude.
Plus, you don't shoot very much.
Yeah.
Because
No.
ammo is fucking tough to find.
And
I use my hands constantly.
Maybe I'm just biased as being primarily a Xbox 360 gamer. Why in the heck don't PlayStation games use the triggers for shooting? Why do they use the buttons?
Because the triggers are pressure sensitive and the buttons are digital.
Okay. But so are the triggers on Xbox, aren't they? I mean, they're pressure sensitive.
No, I think they're digital.
They are? Like on or off, and
Yeah.
that's it?
Yeah.
I always thought if you pulled it more, you got more of a response.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, because to aim, you use the left
L1
L1, thank you, and
Or is
then
it-
use R1.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
shoot. Oh, that would
It's
throw me off.
R1. I'm learning this. R1.
L1, R1.
Yeah, L1. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm on
the
my
shoulder
left and
buttons.
right now.
L1, L2,
And
R1,
the sticks
R2.
are R1 and L1.
R3 and
R,
R2.
yeah,
You
3.
click 'em
Fuck
in.
it. I know, it's right in my head. But the other thing I learned too about the PlayStation this week with the we talked about bad timing before. They put the update out today.
Yeah, and brick systems.
Did it brick them or?
That's what people are
It's
saying.
made them
that's brick.
unresponsive.
Yeah.
Like you have to boot them in safe mode or
Like a
something.
brick.
Like a whole thing, yeah.
Well, you can still boot them in safe mode. A brick, like you can't even do that.
What's safe mode?
It's like a mode where it just like loads the very core functionality.
Okay.
So you can at least get it back to apply an update.
I think
also
they
learned-
took that update down though. Like,
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, but it's like one of those things. It's like listen. I know people get really passionate about this stuff, and that's part of what I love about being a gamer. Is like we're very much about winning and losing, right? And that's the vernacular that people use. That's their vocabulary. And so when you come out of E3, they go, "Who won?" It's like, what do you mean who won?
The gamers did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but it is always a thing of like, who won? Who won this conference? You know, and it's like there's not a lot of industries where you get that kind of talk. But clearly, PlayStation and Sony had a huge upswing and a
Absolutely.
massive amount of momentum. And it's like it just shows its timing of like they have the autosave issue on a huge first-party title, and then they have the update today, which breaks things.
Yeah.
You know,
They work quick.
but it always will show. I think Xbox made a good move because people's memories are short. I never thought, if you told me 2 or 3 years ago that Sony, the inventor of the rootkit, would be seen as a DRM, angel, I would be amazed by that. There was a couple years ago where Sony was like the devil for DRM.
Yeah.
Because they would install a rootkit on your computer.
Really?
When you ran a CD on it, and it would
audio CD.
And it would inform Sony of your listening habits. And you couldn't uninstall this thing, and then people found backdoors in your system through the rootkit, and they were like exploiting your system. It was a major deal for Sony.
That was a long time. It was like 2000.
Was it?
2001.
The rootkit issue? I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Find out.
It was a long time ago.
Do you play the multiplayer of The Last of Us at all?
No, because the copy I got,
Yeah.
the coupon for online multiplayer activation did not become active until Friday the 14th, the day the game came out. So I would try to redeem the code to play, and I couldn't play. So since I lent it to Brandon, I just got it back.
I heard it was actually really, really good. Like not tacked on or anything like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like different factions of survivors fighting for resources, what I believe I've heard.
I saw a post on Reddit. It was like being outnumbered in games. Like the top image was like Frank West and Dead Rising, screen full of zombies. It's like, oh, I can do this. And then for Last of Us, it's like, oh shit, there's 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's different types of enemies, and there's some where you cannot kill them with melee alone. You have to have like you have to have a melee weapon or a gun to kill them. If you just have your bare hands, you cannot.
There's like human enemies and then like the zombies or monsters or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There is. I was having, probably because I played State of Decay, probably because I saw World War Z 2 weeks ago. In fact, I have the embargo's up. I can talk about that now. But I was having trouble, I admit, getting into Last of Us. I was having a little bit of trouble getting involved with it. And but I stuck with it because it was great. I have if I have one complaint about Naughty Dog games, Uncharted and Last of Us, is that like, it's a lot like Gears of War, where like you walk into a room, it's like, oh, there's a bunch of waist-high walls in this room. I guess I'm about
very convenient.
I guess I'm about to get in a fight, and you get that kind of repetitive feeling just based on the environment. They do a better job of it in Last of Us, but I still feel it. But I was having those feelings and all this stuff. But there was a moment, and I really can't talk about it. It's
don't worry, no one's listening.
It's when you're on the move, and there's a moment with. I'll just say this for people who have played it. Don't want to leave you guys out of the conversation. There's a moment with a booby trap.
Okay.
With Joel.
Yeah.
And it was fucking crazy and awesome.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I guess they only do that once. That's a really cool mechanic and idea.
It was really cool.
Is it a scripted thing or can you like avoid it?
What's that?
Is it a scripted thing or can you
it's
avoid
scripted.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's scripted. I don't want to give away too much for a really cool title like this. But
Is it a long
very
game?
early in the game. Very early in the game.
Super early.
Yeah.
It's probably within the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're getting close to wrapping up here. We've got about 2 minutes left.
Since we're on the topic of zombies, if this is a zombie-related patch, World War Z. I'm going to talk about a movie a little bit based on our gaming conversation. So, have you guys read the books?
I have not.
Read the books?
I did.
So I saw the movie, and it's just like, it's a good movie. Something that really surprised me about it, though, is that it's a PG-13 movie, and I didn't know that. It's hard to make a zombie movie that's PG-13.
Does a lot of death happen off camera? Like, oh no, that's terrible over there.
It's like implied zombieism, But they do some pretty like horrific stuff without being like overly violent or graphic. There you go. And but I can say that like I have made comments about it being vastly different from the book. It really is. Everyone I saw it with really enjoyed it a whole lot. I enjoyed it pretty much, but it's only because as much as I wanted to divest myself from having read the book, I just couldn't do it. And they got close to some things, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, and it's just like in the book, or it could be interpreted from this in the book, and then it just took a right turn.
So me not reading the book will I enjoy the movie more?
You are better off.
Okay.
You are better off, and then read the book afterwards.
Yeah, I see. I
I'll be mad,
think you had a tweet about it. I've seen people in public like reading the book. I feel like they're trying to get ready for the movie. I've heard it's nothing to like.
Yeah.
They all want to be the Game of Thrones snobs now, who are like, oh, I've read the book.
I'm up to the point in the books where Theon Greyjoy has gotten back to Pike.
Gotten back to Pike.
So I'm in Clash of Kings.
Okay.
Season 2, essentially.
I'm all cut up now. So do you want to talk about that?
Maybe next time?
Well, do you want to talk about the next time with Game of Thrones?
Sure.
We are planning to get the Game of Thrones spoiler cast. We've got it on the production calendar.
Yeah, where we will talk about all 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
It's a big spoiler cast. People are excited for
going
that.
from the beginning up until the most
watch
recent
that damn
season.
show.
Yeah, so you should check the site for that. That'll be coming very, 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 very soon.
We promise.
And we hope that'll start maybe a regular edition of podcasts that are spoiler casts on a regular basis for different things.
I think, summer makes sense. A lot of big summer movies and stuff like that. that's potential to talk about.
In fact, we'd like to hear from you guys. Like, what is the amount of time that you'd like to go that accounts for a spoiler cast? Do you want to go, is 4 weeks enough? Is 3 weeks enough? Like, what do you think is a normal time? So you guys can tweet us or write to us and let us know what you think is an appropriate amount of time before we cover something for a spoiler cast.
Well, I think we can just put it out there, and the people can either optionally listen in or not listen in.
Yeah.
Dude, somebody tweeted me 17 seconds ago, you're not talking about games anymore. I know. We talked about a movie for a second.
Okay, fine. Thank you, asshole. We're going to end the podcast now because of you.
It's
not because of you. It's not because of you.
It is because of you.
All right,
you should be ashamed of yourself.
Thanks, everyone, for watching or listening. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.